Hi everyone. Today I have another very cool piece. This one's from Tim Galyean, and the model is called the Turbulence. I think I'm gonna touch on Tim's background a little bit first before I jump in onto the knife itself. Tim Galyean has been in the knife game for about 20 years. Um, so he started off his career as a custom knife maker, and then he joined Kershaw between I would I want to say around 2000, and he stayed there until about 2017, um, with a few breaks along the way. So, for example, in 2008 or 9, somewhere around there, he came out of Kershaw because he wanted to continue making custom knives. But later he went back to join Kershaw because, he had his family was growing, and he needed stable income. But now, in 2021, he's back out again, ready to make more pieces. So I'm really excited to see, what Tim has coming out. At Kershaw, he's done everything from um, designing to automating machines. So everything in the making of the knife itself, he's been involved in, and he's even had a few of his own designs gone through. For example, the CT line of knives, zero tolerance. Um, and I believe this was also a production knife design too, but this Turbulence is a 2.0 design, and it was made in around 2017, right when he came out. And it's a huge step up from his previous work. I've owned one before, but this one is astounding. Back in, again, around 2008, 2009, there was the first TKI show ever. And back then, the reason why people went to shows was to see Tim's knives and Lee Williams knives. So those were the top two makers back then. So a lot of people are newer to the game. It might not have heard Tim because he, went back to Kershaw, but back then he was the best of the best, and he was making work just like this. Um, in terms of the beautiful design and superb hand rub. So I'm gonna flip it out so you can see the blade. Oh yeah, and the turbulence here is very well done from Tim. I've seen two out there. I'm not aware there might be more. It has a pearl MOP inlay, mother of pearl, with a nice custom pivot, satin finished, and the frame is bead blast, but is a very heavy bead blast. So it's not like the Chris Reeve knives bead blast. So it's you know, quite scratch resistant. The screws are anodized green, which is beautiful. And I think I'll go through knife little by little and why I think the design is so amazing. So first of all, in terms of the ergonomics, the blade is around the 3.5-inch blade, but ergonomics fits really well in hand. When you have a smaller butt end, it feels like it carries a lot easier when you put it in the pocket. Um, and because the blade is curved up, it's much easier to do when you cut down onto a cutting board. If you want to do any sort of cutting like that. And speaking of cutting, Tim has one of the best edges in the game. It's so sharp. It slices like crazy. I really really am addicted to how sharp this is. And looking at the hand rub, it's just so gorgeous. And the reason why it's sharp, you may see, is because the blade thickness is actually quite thin, thinner than most knives, and particularly, let's look at it from this side. Particularly on, this tip, it is um, quite thin. So it's a real performer in slicing. Obviously, you would not be prying anything with this because the tip will snap. I'm pretty sure because it's so thin, but you can really get some fine cuts in there, which is, the best usage for an EDC knife in my opinion. And the overall frame itself is also thinner than usual, which I really love. It feels extremely nice in the hand. There's nice contouring, and I love how there's these milling lines all over the place that makes it look very, very well thought out throughout the knife. Very comfortable to hold. Um, the the one thing that I would like, or would love to see as an improvement, is the jimping here, or I guess even on the backspacer, because when you flip the knife, your finger kind of hits this part a bit. So maybe a shorter backspacer would be nice. But the jimping and everything on the flipper tab, and on the spine, it's very very nicely done, perfectly done. Oh yeah. So again, the design that's plain like this but really captures your imagination is quite an achievement in my books. For example, the detail on how the pivot is fully flushed on all sides. This is very, very good work. Could not have asked for more. Even on this side, on the screw itself, completely flush, which means when you tighten the pivot, Tim had to make sure that to get it exactly right, to be perfectly centered and to be perfectly flush here, there needs to be some sort of coordination, and it's just perfect. The pocket clip, just love it. There's a chamfer down here and then on this side, and lots of nice milling holes to make it easier to grip when you take it out of the pocket. And I love when knives are have small pocket clips because it's nice and discreet. It works really well and very easy to take out of the pocket. In terms of design, I love on, just look at the top part. How cool is that? The blade spine goes along with the frame. Subtle touches like that. In terms of the action itself, at first you'll notice that, hey, maybe the flipper tab is behind the middle, which means it'll be a little bit more difficult to flip, but actually the D10 is quite strong. So it snaps out very lovely, very nicely. And yes, Tim does use a steel lock bar insert. It's a little bit difficult to see, but he does put it inside. You can't see, but there's a screw here that screws in the steel lock bar insert, so it's going to last you a lot longer. Or I guess if something happens, you can replace it, unlike a traditional titanium carbidized lock bar. Centering, perfect. And I've been flipping this knife a lot, and it's like a really nice size, lightweight knife, extensive internal milling. I'm gonna try to show you. A little bit difficult to see, but there is a lot of milling all over the place. And the combination of the thin frame, thin blade, internal milling makes it really light, yet it's solid as it can be. Listen to the lockup. And the flip. Oh man. This thing is a tank. Lightweight tank. It's like a really high quality, I guess you can call it kind of like a lightweight sports car. Super, super well done. And because the D10 is quite strong, it doesn't drop on its own, but it's super smooth. No hiccups anywhere. And if you release the lock bar fully, it drops. But that's kind of scary because it is so damn sharp. Oh yeah, one other detail is that at first I noticed, hey, what's this little dimple right here? But it's actually almost like a blade stop when you put it back. Stops right there on both sides. And again, when it opens, it touches this part. Yeah. I mean, when you make a simple design perfect like this, it gets really addicting. It's also cool that this is the prototype. Amazing knife. Amazing, amazing knife. So addicting to play with. So addicting to use as well because of how useful the blade is. This blade shape is, again, when you have a Wharncliffe, it's it's not it's a little bit harder to accidentally stab yourself. Yet it is so nice and slicey and so useful. And yeah, the design is just unlike anything else. Very unique. Awesome knife. Really, really look forward to what Tim has coming out because this level of work is quite hard to find, When you have something that looks a little bit, plain or simple, but when you have it in hand, this is not normal. This is one step up. Next level. Amazing piece. All right, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just write it in the comments or write to me in Instagram at Tactical, same username as my YouTube, as most of you probably already know. But yeah, all right. Catch you guys next time.